Okay, I'm under the car. I just finally got in the transmission bar. This is for a tr6060 out of a 2010 Camaro SS. So what I did is, I think Jegs is where I bought this adapter plate. I took out the old one. It was a little taller than I wanted. I wanted this as low as I possibly could get. And you'll see later, even with that lowness, I still had to cut a little bit out of the transmission well. But then I used I used this plate, which came with this that I got from Summit Racing, and I was pretty pleased with how well it went in. It took a little bit of effort to get the passenger side screws in there. I ended up actually having to I went out and bought some shorter bolts so that I could put the bolt up here and drop it in and then put the nut there. I didn't see how I was going to be able to get the nut on top, especially on that one. But that ended up working. I think I bought a 1-inch. Those are like 5/16 bolts. And the other side went in pretty well. I did have to take out temporarily had to take out oh, come on, what is this? This is the emergency brake line, but it'll go back in there. So I was pleased that I didn't have to cut that, and I'll be able to use that later. But as far as getting the transmission in, I had to cut. Now this looks a lot worse than it was because the people before me cut the transmission well already, and so I just took off their repair, which was all of this. They had glued in a piece of metal with liquid nails, and then stuffed the places that still had air with tissue paper. So that was ridiculous. This is really the only area that I had to cut to get that to set in. This is the shifter here, and once I get the seats in, I'll buy a new shifter. I'll order a shifter that is right where I want it to be. That'll come right out of there. But that is the transmission cross member for the tr6060.